The letter from Grandpa. Your special assignment. My sons, daughters, and grandchildren, we elders, your ancestors who have passed into the spirit world, have been watching and observing you for a long time now. After being in council, we have decided to have this small book written for you because you are lost and having a hard time. No one is telling you what the purpose of a young warrior should be, and no one is telling you the meaning of life. No one is telling you the purpose of your birth and of the special assignment you should be preparing for. Each of us is given a special assignment that we are to accomplish before we pass into the spirit world. You need to know this. You need to know the true reason you were born. Some of you grew up in an alcoholic family, so you were not told the secrets of the warrior. Some of you grew up in foster care, so you were not told of your assignment. Some of you grew up on the streets, and no one there had the knowledge to tell you. Some of you grew up knowing physical abuse and violence. You are carrying around with you unbelievable hurt. Some of you grew up being very verbally abused, so now you think you are worth nothing. Some of you were adopted out to white people, so you don't know who you are. Some of you were bounced around from relative to relative. Now you think you don't belong anywhere. Some of you have tried to take your own life because of feelings of hopelessness. Some of you think it is good to be sent to prison. You think this makes you a man or a woman. Some of you think you are not worthy of receiving a good education, but you are. Some of you were raised by good, caring people, but still did not learn how to find purpose in life. Growing up in our communities, our people's behavior coming from alcohol and drugs makes it very hard for a young person to know what to do. You are supposed to be taught how to live life in harmony with the principles, laws, and values as they express themselves through our traditional ways. That's how it always was for us as Indian people. All peoples from the four directions, the red, yellow, black, and white ethnicities, have principles, laws, and values that lead to harmony in life. But you are not getting these teachings. You did not create the world in which you live. The adults have created it for you. But if you are making choices and decisions that are out of harmony with the principles, laws, and values, then the natural laws will still give you negative consequences. So we have decided to share with you the 12 teachings to understand the purpose of life. This knowledge is what our ancestors used to teach the young people. I will give you these teachings. Then you must make the choice and decision to apply them to your life or not. We know you can do it, but it's up to you. With love, Grandpa. Good morning, Nyalka. My name is Millie Friday, and I'm an enrolled Northern Arapaho. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm an auntie. And those roles are very important to me. I have been working with White Buffalo Youth Prevention for 3 years now as a coordinator and as a tobacco prevention coordinator. I work with youth all over the reservation in all our school districts. My background is I worked with Guami Indian Schools, a public school on the reservation in my community of Ithiti for 24 years, and I retired. I received a position, I put in for a position with the Northern Arapaho tribe, and I received it, and I was a Generations 8 program director for 3 years, and then I was hired by White Buffalo Recovery Center as the youth program coordinator, and that's where I've been since. I've learned during those years with Wyoming Indian Schools, I worked with drug-free and alcohol-free federal programs all during those years. So I have experience working with our children in those areas. When I started working with White Buffalo Youth Prevention, I brought all my experience working in the school systems, working with our children in all of our communities that come from all of our communities on the reservation. I feel very confident in my work that I do with kids because I was born and raised here on the reservation. That I feel that because of my experience working with youth, that I have kind of like a insider position because being born and raised here, I feel like they understand that I know. They understand that I know what it is to grow up on the reservation. I understand where our kids come from, and I understand, why we have so much high rates of alcohol abuse and drug abuse, and that the majority of our people die from alcohol-related accidents. I think that my experience working with federal programs, drug-free programs on the reservation, I came to understand that working with historical trauma with our children, teaching our children our history, is vital to our wellness as a people. I feel that I teach the children our history in the hopes that they're not looking back but moving forward. Our history is key to our wellness as Native people.
Hello, my name is Alex Sage. I coordinate a suicide prevention grant under the Northern Arapaho Tribal Health, and I'm also aligned with White Buffalo Youth Prevention. I'm a father of 5, and I'm enrolled in Northern Arapaho. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the culture of poverty, what the culture of poverty is and how it exists here on the reservation. A lot of these homes, a lot of these families that live around here, there's not many jobs, there's not many employment opportunities. So, and there's a shortage of housing. So a lot of times you'll see a lot of families that are all in one home. And the other thing that about poverty is that it's a form of oppression. So it starts to make decisions for us. Like, for example, if we only had $5, then what would we do with it? And depending on where this family or these individuals were in their healing or sobriety, it would really. So they might put $5 in gas to go somewhere, or they might go get a drink and self-medicate with that $5. Or they might go to the store and buy some bologna or some bread, try to feed their family. Or they might even go to the casino and try to double that $5. So the culture of poverty makes decisions for us, because while we're in prevention here, we could have the best speakers, the best programming and everything, but the culture of poverty really limits our community from coming together and showing up to these events and engaging in these help-seeking activities. So I just wanted to, another thing that I want you guys to think about is a person's thinking, what level of conscience they're on. So kind of in regards to Maslow's hierarchy, when we're on the lowest tier, it's survival mode. So a lot of our kids and a lot of our families here, a lot of their time is dealing with chaos, managing crises from chaos. So they don't really have time to begin to start healing or to think about bettering themselves or improving their way of life or things like that, because again, in survival mode, we're just thinking about, maybe I need to get food. Is this place safe for me? Did I get enough sleep? So a lot of those basic needs are met, but even then, your mindset is still in that survival mode. So We try to combat that with like art or singing or praying or meditating or things like that, because with art, once we get into art, our mind, our level of conscience is elevated at the highest level we could possibly be. And when we're there, it's easier for us to talk to people, to express ourselves, or to just basically um, operate. It's a higher level of operation. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. So I think that's all I wanted to say about culture, poverty, and survival mode. I guess I'll touch a little bit about broken homes. So I kind of talked a little bit about it, but a lot of these kids or people you might see coming through your program, they really, it's not like your normal homes where you have two parents and they each own their home and things like that. Here, the way our situation is here, you have multiple families, and most of the time, the male, the father is absent from the home, and a lot of these children are being raised by their grandparents, and you have a lot of families that are into more. Let's say you have 2, 3 families all into a 3-bedroom house or something like that. So all of that overcrowding, lack of housing, and lack of privacy and things like that, not really having a good place to sleep or things you own your own space, it really affects things. So I just wanted to say a little bit about that. So a lot of these kids are being raised by their grandparents. So, well, that's all I have to say about that.
My name is Shoshana Miller. I am the White Buffalo Youth Prevention Youth Mentor, and I've been a part of White Buffalo for the past 4 years. Intergenerational trauma has been a part of our Native youth for a really long time, and each youth kind of goes into trauma in their own different way. We deal with grief and trauma in our own different way, and we experience something different in our lifetime. Grown-ups need to understand how youth process grief very differently in their lifestyle. And I think it's very important that our adults take that time to communicate with our youth, actually give that time to listen to what our youth are going through. And in today's society, our youth will kind of keep everything inside and they just won't talk about it, and that's where they kind of struggle with being heard. We want our youth to be safe, and just giving that time to talk with them instead of at them, then they'll feel more needed and finally be heard of what they have to say.
My name is Nathan Friday. I work with White Buffalo Youth Prevention, program assistant, cultural specialist. Cultural sensitivity. On the Winter Indian Reservation, we have 2 tribes, Shoshone and Arapaho tribes. Most of my teachings and my knowledge is through the tribe. I am Northern Arapaho. So I can't really speak too much about Shoshones, but I lived here all my life. Over the years, I've noticed the kids have lost their identity. There's a lot of them that don't know about their culture, know about their background, who they're related to. A lot of the respect is kind of going away, and I think that's a problem we have as a society in general. we're losing that respect for ourselves and then for each other. So it's kind of a universal problem that we have, along with the drugs and the alcohol. So, along with that historical trauma, the boarding school era, we lost values as parenthood, mother and father. We had roles within our tribe, within our family. The boarding school era kind of took those teaching lessons away, and so some of it was lost. Majority of it we hung on to. But it's pretty basic. Where our people how we're supposed to love each other, respect each other, say good things to one another, and help each other. So, and we can't do those things if we don't love and respect and treat ourselves good first. So, our kids, they have to live in two worlds. It makes them more successful that way. So, they have to know who they are, learn about their culture, our core values, our teachings. We still have them within our ceremonies and the way we do things. And some of those teachings are still relevant in some families. Some of the kids, some of them have the teachings. It's kind of one of the things that we do. When we're told we don't talk unless we're asked to talk, and then the ones that have a right to talk are usually our elders, ones that have lived life a little bit. So at a young age, we're really told not to voice our opinions just because we're young, we're still learning. So until you live life a little bit, maybe you have kids, grandkids, you got your own home, then you can talk about life and talk about things. That's one of the teachings that I was raised with. Your eye contact, in the Western world, you have to make that eye contact when you're talking to somebody. Just the way it is. For us, out of respect, when we're talking and listening to an elder or whoever it is, a lot of times we'll close our eyes, put our head down, but at the same time listening. We're listening to them. Sometimes you hear people nod and kind of agree, little agreements, little yep, things like that. Agree with what's being said. That right there, that's respect among our people. That's kind of how they are, and sometimes you get asked questions in the Western society nowadays. They ask questions. Everybody wants an answer right now. They're expecting you to know something right now. And they want everything. They want everything fast. The way we're living is fast living. Life's fast out there now. But within our people, traditionally, sometimes it would take, maybe 2, 3, 4 visits from an elder to get your answer. And they'd think about it, pray about it, because they didn't want to give you the wrong information. They didn't want to tell you something that might lead you down a path they didn't want you to go. So they were real careful how they talked and how they chose their words to speak to people. It wasn't fast. They really took their time with it. So that's just a little bit of the cultural sensitivity stuff, But it's no different from anybody else, any other walk, race of men. We're all humans, humanity. We all need love. We all need each other. We all need that help. We all need support, compassion. above all, we're all praying people. So, you know, that's universal, you know. Everybody wants to be treated good. Everybody wants to be loved. And nowadays we kind of tend to think that we don't need each other. We act like we can do things on our own and do things for ourselves, which may be the case, but you know, it's a lot easier when people help each other and we come together and laugh, have a good time, you know. So, anyways, that's just a little bit that I know. Hopefully, this can help you guys out. The main thing that I would say is, you know, with these kids, with any kids, no matter what they did, if they got in trouble or whatever, you know, I always try to treat them with respect. Try to get to know them. Try to get to know, you know, ask them who their parents are, ask them where they come from, you know. Even if they don't know, it's going to make them want to learn who they are, where they come from. Next time I see them, they come back. They go ask their mom and dad, you know, how they're related, if I'm related to them, like that. You know, then they find out. So they're establishing their roots, their foundation, where they come from. So you kind of have to take time to get to know people. You know, the best way to do that is, you know, sit down, talk with them. You know, none of the Facebook and telephone stuff, but just visit them. So that's kind of what I do with these kids. You know, you don't click with all the kids, but you know, generally speaking, if you show them respect, you know, it works good for me. I don't sugarcoat anything for them. You know, I don't do that. You know, I'm honest with them and their responsibilities and what I expect of them. But you know, that kind of works for me. So that's just a little bit. You know, hopefully this information can help you guys.